You are indeed capable of healing yourself. Your state of health is but a reflection of how you perceive yourself and your world. This naturally places the responsibility for your well being where it belongs, in your own hands. Once you have achieved vibrant health, you'll not just feel well, you'll have become whole, perhaps for the very first time in your life. Timeless secrets of health and rejuvenation can help unleash the tremendous power of healing that lies dormant within you and restore balance on all levels of your body, mind, and spirit. Using your own healing powers establishes a permanent comfort zone or continuous sense of satisfaction, which forms the basis for a creative, successful, and rewarding life. Good health is the most valuable possession you could possibly have. This simple truth applies as much to a newborn baby as to an elderly man, a mother, a doctor, the common person on the street, or the president of a country. Whenever your body becomes sick or does not perform up to what you feel to be normal, you may experience a state of discomfort, fear, or depression that can only be remedied by restoring your body's former health and vitality. To truly feel comfortable within yourself and in your surroundings, you must be able to heal every kind of disease that you experience. When you fall ill or your body ages abnormally fast, you may develop an urge to look for a remedy that promises quick relief. Today, there is a medical drug or treatment for almost every illness. You're led to believe that if you only suppress or eliminate the symptoms of a disease, such as pain, you have also have eradicated the disease. This ill-founded belief seems to be deeply engraved in our minds. The medical industry plays a major role in reinforcing it by offering us almost only symptom oriented treatments. Of course, our own impatience to get well makes us perfect candidates for these fast acting remedies. But each time we remove a symptom without attending to its cause, we further distance ourselves from regaining the balance required for continuous health and vitality. Consequently, good health remains but a dream, and we may resign ourselves to some degree of ill health, resorting to sayings such as, well, that's life, or we all have to die from something. Regaining your health is not about applying a magical quick fix. Rather, it's a reconstruction process that affects every part of your life, that is, creativity, job, relationships, emotions, happiness, etc. It would be very simplistic to assume that a few vitamin pills, a new wonder drug, an operation, or in or even an alternative medical treatment could in the spur of a moment undo the effects of many years of neglect. The body may have had to endure much strain from not receiving proper nourishment or sufficient sleep and exercise for years on end. Timeless Secrets of Health and Rejuvenation is about setting the preconditions for the body to do what it knows best, creating and maintaining balance, regardless of age and previous health problems. You can find the key to bring balance into every aspect of your life by starting to take responsibility for your own health. This book deals with the most down to earth issues of health, such as lifestyle, diet, nutrition, exercise, daily routine, exposure to sunlight, and the like, some of which are derived from Ayurvedic medicine. Ayurveda, which literally means science of life, is the most ancient and complete system of natural health care. Apart from discovering Ayurveda's time tested insights into the secrets of healing and longevity, you will also learn how to apply a number of highly effective and profound cleansing procedures that have seemingly miraculous effects on your physical, emotional, and spiritual well being. The simplified scientific knowledge and common sense used in this book generate the motivation for turning the key of health and rejuvenation. The book also sheds light on the most common diseases and misunderstood medical practices today, of which everyone should be aware. Concerning the improvement of personal health and well being, we are being challenged to make a major shift in both our individual and collective attitudes regarding health and freedom. We must move away from the pre programmed expectations of illness and aging toward the anticipation of continual youthfulness and vitality. The old saying that everyone has to age and die seems to be a repeatedly verified belief doctrine that most people in the world follow blindly without questioning its validity. Could it be possible instead that illness and old age occur because we believe they are an inevitable curse to which we all are subjected and with which we are doomed to live? If so, in order to fulfill the curse or belief, as happens with most self fulfilling prophecies, we are setting the stage for its execution. Although quite unaware of this human drama, we actually allow ourselves to adopt various methods of self destruction through detrogatory diets, lifestyle, and behavior. Right from the early years of childhood, our parents, teachers, and society have sentenced us to the fact that the body has no choice but to deteriorate and eventually to die from old age or an illness. It used to be that you would only see a doctor if you felt ill. Today, you must have a doctor regularly check on you before you are born and then for the rest of your life. The generally accepted belief that humans are fragile beings that need medical assistance from time to time, especially as they grow older, generates a distinct feeling of being out of control, of being dragged down the dark corridor of time by a mysterious power called aging. The feeling of not being in charge or control is one of the most common causes of physical and mental illness. Most people call it stress. The idea of being vulnerable and unsafe generates fear, which in turn triggers profound biochemical changes in the body. These changes become the physical reality of ill health and aging. Through the intimate mind body connection, every thought and feeling, to a greater or lesser degree, alerts your experience of health and well being. A bout of depression can paralyze your immune system, and falling in love can boost it. If you're convinced that aging is natural and cannot be avoided, this will be the reality you will create for yourself. Likewise, you can draw on the same force that causes destruction in the body and direct it toward healing and rejuvenation. You can prove to yourself that growing old and becoming more prone to illness are merely the manifested projections of ignorance about the real nature of life. Disease and aging are not part of your body's genetic design. Even the so called death gene, which is in charge of terminating the lives of cells in our body according to their various predetermined lifespans, is the one that keeps us alive. Without this gene, we would all die from cancer within weeks. In this sense, controlled destruction is the giver of life and life growing out of control, as is the case with cancer cells, can be the harbinger of death. New gene research suggests that we could grow as old as we want to. There is nothing in the normal, original setup of our body that indicates it is causing its own aging or diseases. However, abundant evidence exists to show that aging and illness originate in the combined effects of fearful, negative mental attitudes, emotions, and excessive accumulation of toxic waste materials in the body. As a human race, we are about to recognize the vanity of participating in the hypnosis of social conditioning that keeps our mind veiled in the shadows cast by misinformation. Many of us have already begun to let go of the fears and doubts that keep us from realizing the tremendous powers that are patiently waiting for us to put them into action. To make a real difference in life, we need to employ our vast potential of energy, creativity, and intelligence for the truly essential issues in life and for generating a profound sense of happiness. One of the keys to unleash our endless potential is the body itself. The body is constantly engaged in turning over its cells, which in itself is a miraculous and extremely complex process unmatched by anything man has ever created. The numerous types of proteins that make up your genes and constitute the cells in your body are replaced every 2 to 10 days. Radioisotope studies show that 98% of the atoms that compose your body today won't be there in a year's time. This renewal process affects all parts of the body, including the blood, muscles, organs, fat, bones, nerves, and as recently confirmed, brain matter. With the continual replacement of all the cells, you should be able to have a new body and consequently a new lease of life at least once every few years. In this book, you will learn about the body's built in mechanisms that can stop the clock of aging and make you younger and healthier the more years you add to your chronological age. We are right in the middle of a tremendous global transformation that has already greatly influenced, if not shaken up, the very foundation of conventional medicine. The old division of body and mind into completely separate and independent entities is crumbling fast with the knowledge supplied by the more progressive wings of medical science such as psychoneuroimmunology or mind body medicine. The division of body and mind, which is based on the old and outdated paradigms of understanding human nature, has never really existed. Nevertheless, this false notion about the true reality of human existence continues to make man believe he is essentially a physical being. And to some degree, we all agree with that idea. Since today's study and practice of human health largely ignores the important role of the mind, feelings, and emotions, those put in charge of taking care of our well being stand little chance of guaranteeing us a reasonably satisfying state of health. As it will become apparent from reading this book, instead of eradicating disease from the surface of the earth, the purely symptom oriented approach to health care has greatly diminished the probability of truly curing diseases and, in fact, has contributed to the occurrence of chronic diseases and death more than any other cause. We are now beginning to recognize the inseparability of the body and mind. The breakthrough discoveries in the field of mind-body medicine have already helped thousands of people regain their health. Current scientific understanding shows that mind and body never exist as separate or independent entities. A hand can never write a letter unless the mind orders the hand to do so. You cannot even move your eyes to read the words unless your mind has given you the definite instruction to follow their sequence. The mind also must have the proper perception of the body and the will to maintain life. Consider, for example, a person with anorexia. Because a person's thoughts are distorted to believe that she is fat, the desire to eat is greatly diminished or stopped, causing the physical body to deteriorate or even die. Thus, the mind and body are intimately connected and depend on one another. Our life is controlled by what I call super-intelligent body-mind. Without its supervising presence, the body's 60 to 100 trillion cells, with their over 1 trillion biochemical reactions per second each, would proportionally generate as much chaos and confusion as would be created in the case of the dissolution of the universe. You can also experience the intimate relationship between mind and body when you get a stomachache from feeling upset or when you faint after receiving a very distressing piece of information. Some people have literally turned grey overnight due to a traumatic event, and others blush when they feel embarrassed. Heart attacks can be triggered by a single bout of anger or intense anxiety, regardless of whether the coronary arteries are clogged or open. All thoughts and feelings are instantly translated into biochemical compounds within the brain and within every other part of the body, thereby altering physical appearance and performance. In fact, every bit of mental activity leaves us with a specific physical sensation known as emotion. Emotions are composites of both mental impulses and physical changes, and they express the totality of one's health at a given time. Your endocrine system, which produces hormones in response to your mental experiences, is indeed your personal drugstore and it comes free. Your inner pharmacy can make any drug you need, and you're the pharmacist who writes the appropriate prescriptions. Depending on your emotional response or reaction to a particular event or challenge, the drugs and their doses vary accordingly. They may include the stress hormones adrenaline, cortisol, and cholesterol. When released into your bloodstream in response to anger, fear, or rejection, for example, these hormones can save your life, but if secreted in an ongoing manner, they may damage the blood vessels and impair the immune system. Your happy emotions, on the other hand, manifest as endorphins, serotonin, interleukin 2, or other drugs that are related to the experiences of pleasure and satisfaction. If you produce enough of these chemicals, you may even be able to arrest the aging process. Carefully controlled studies have shown that you can reduce your biological age by 10 to 15 years within 10 days, provided your interpretation of your life experience undergoes rapid and positive changes. By contrast, you can also put on 20 extra years within a single day if you enter a state of hopelessness and depression. Hormones produce extremely powerful effects both in a positive and negative sense. Yet, even more powerful than hormones are the thoughts and intentions that trigger them. For many years now, hospitals have been recording cases where cancer patients have experienced what is generally known as spontaneous remission. A remission is a cancerous tumor or other serious illnesses may occur when the affected person suddenly enters a feeling of profound trust and unprecedented happiness. Others recovered from a terminal illness when they got addicted to laughter. Our physical makeup is capable of providing formerly unknown and extremely powerful chemicals in response to a newly adopted perception of reality. This intrinsic ability of the human mind-body system can help evolve our hormonal system, that is endocrine system, to a much higher level of efficiency and bestow abilities to our body that are beyond our current level of understanding or imagination. The mind body connection will be discussed at great length at the beginning of this book because it forms an essential part of the endeavor to improve our physical and mental health. The journey to develop a permanent state of health and vitality has very little to do with treating disease. Yet treating illness is the main focus of conventional medicine. True healing is about re-establishment, the intimate connection that exists between a healthy body and mind. It would be foolish to try combating darkness in a room when all we need to do is to switch on the light. The darkness isn't the problem we need to get rid of, it is the missing light that creates the darkness. By lighting a candle in a dark room, the darkness disappears instantly. Likewise, disease disappears by the act of generating healthy, life-supporting effects in our body and mind. The bottom line is that good health remains an unrealistic dream when the focus is on disease. Blaming an illness for our lack of well-being and treating it as if it were an enemy forms the very basis of today's health crisis. A basic natural law states that energy follows thought. If disease is your point of attention or remains a point of reference and truth in your life, you're going to be stuck with it because disease thrives on negative energy. Over 90% of all diseases in our Western civilization are chronic by nature. For these, there are no successful treatments available, at least not in the field of conventional medicine. The inadequacy of the modern medical system to deal successfully with chronic disease is rooted in the collective conviction that we need to get rid of the symptoms of disease in order to get our health back. If we instead focused our attention on setting the preconditions and restoring the mechanisms responsible for creating and maintaining good health, health would return quite naturally. It's not disease that needs attention, it's the patient who requires love, care, nourishment, and the feeling of being complete again. The single most important experience that the unbalanced body mind needs for healing is the experience of happiness, which results when a person begins to take his health in his hands and removes whatever congestion and imbalance may exist in the body. This is a highly self empowering process which is pleasing to the heart, body, and soul. A fascinating study showed that happy people are the least likely to catch colds, regardless how often you expose them to a cold virus. Also, people who are in love show a higher resistance to disease. To create a positive state of health can be a powerful happiness generating event. Happiness returns spontaneously in a person who's suffering from a cold or a disease starts to feel better again. Happiness and health are attractive to us, disease is not. Unhappy people can never be truly healthy, just as unhealthy people can rarely be truly happy. A person who suffers from cancer and learns to apply the methods of regaining his happiness described in this book may suddenly cure himself, but if he continues hating his mother, father, or ex-spouse, then even though these or similar therapies are bound to be unsuccessful in the long run. By focusing on disease or negativity in life, one remains trapped in unresolved and continuous cycles of anger and conflicts. This, in turn, will have a powerful immune suppressive effect and prevent true healing from taking place. The focus on the destructive characteristics of a disease, widely known as symptoms of disease, cannot serve as a source of inspiration to bring about a real healing response and an ever evolving state of health. There is, in fact, little to be gained from a fascination with disease, including its diagnosis. In contrast, there is everything to be gained from a fascination with health. The human body has no built-in programs for sickness, but it has many programs to maintain a state of perfect equilibrium or balance, and if balance is lost, to return to it. It's the nature of the human being to be healthy, but it is up to us to set the preconditions for these programs to work efficiently. To repeat, healing is absent when happiness is absent. Bereaved persons whose sense of joy has virtually become non-existent demonstrate this most clearly. Widows rank among the highest in the risk groups of cancer. Sadness, because of the loss of a loved one, blocks a person's normal immune response to fight cancer cells even though his or her T cell count may be in the normal range. Major studies on heart disease have shown that lack of happiness and job satisfaction head the list of risk factors for heart attacks. They are far more endangering to our health than animal fats, alcohol, and even cigarette smoking. The main purpose of life is to increase happiness. Any action that deviates from our purpose and does not support this most basic principle of life is destined to fail or generate impediments, problems that are designed to lead us back to the path of happiness. This is as true for the field of health as it is for every other idea in life. Most of the advice given in this book has an uplifting or a clarifying effect, thus providing a solid foundation for creating and maintaining good health. The liver and gallbladder flush described in this chapter 7, which can remove hundreds of gallstones from these important organs within a few hours, can by itself trigger waves of utter wellness and eliminate deep seated anger and frustration. The clearing of severely blocked ducts and channels of circulation in the body can have truly blissful effects and most certainly change one's priorities in life. With the continued improvement of your health, you may find yourself entering a state of completeness where the pieces of the puzzle of life will naturally fit into their designated places. As you read about the various ways of improving your physical health, try to remember that they are closely tied to your mental and emotional well being. If you suffer from a particular illness like cancer, heart disease, or AIDS, apart from dealing with the physical aspect of the imbalance, you will also need to attend to its mental and emotional counterparts. Disease is not something that you just catch. Instead, it's something you create by repeatedly setting up the same limitations that prevent your body and mind from being in their naturally balanced states. You don't need to receive permission from anyone or from any government agency to improve your health because this is your natural birthright. The advice given in this book is not meant for curing diseases because it's not disease that needs curing. It's the suffering person who needs to become whole, happy, and vital again. You can never really cure a disease because disease only occurs when health is no longer being created or when you're no longer in tune with your inner purpose, your natural sense of joyful existence, and the whole world around you. However, once you have allowed balance to return to your body and mind, disease will disappear by itself, just as the darkness of the night disappears with the light of the day. Most of the data and research that I mention in this book is based on what are generally considered reliable sources, such as published papers and scientific journals. But although I have cited scientific research studies throughout the book to clarify and illuminate basic insights, it's my opinion that medical research in itself cannot serve as a reliable source of truth and reality. In fact, most medical research has been used to serve vested interest groups, such as the pharmaceutical industry, to manipulate the masses into submission and expose them to potentially fatal treatments. All research is unaltered by the changing factors of time, the unaccountable subjectivity of the researchers and those being researched, as well as the intended objectives of the research. In my view, scientific research should not be used in an exclusive manner to formulate a particular truth because it is very easy to employ research studies as a means of manipulating opinions and beliefs. In the US, the FDA withdraws about 150 pharmaceutical drugs from the market each year because of the harmful, dangerous side effects they generate in numerous consumers. These are the same drugs that the FDA had approved several years earlier on the basis of the rigorous scientific testing procedures that are employed in all clinical studies today. Take the example of the arthritis drug VIOXX, Vioxx, or other painkillers including Clelilbrex, Aleve, and Bextra. Isn't it astounding that these poisonous, expensive drugs could have passed all the supposedly rigorous scientific safety tests and been sold to millions of unsuspecting arthritis sufferers just to find out years later that they sharply increase the risk of heart attack and stroke? Could there be double standards for rigorous testing in the field of medical research, one for before and one for after introducing these drugs to the market? How many thousands of people needed to die before the drug producer, Merck, volunteered to withdraw the drug from the market? Likewise, How can powerful antidepressants be given to unhappy children when it has been demonstrated that these drugs increase the risk of suicide? These are questions that reflect Psych's uncertainty principle, which turns the use of medical drugs into a gamble with one's life. The stamp of scientific approval is perhaps one of the most dangerous tools employed by the medical industry today. I'm often asked to supply the exact references for those studies I sometimes refer to, but doing so would place too much credence and reliance on something that is so heavy, flawed, and unreliable. I suggest that you take any statement or argument you are not sure about into your heart and ask your body how it feels. A body testing procedure is described in the first chapter. Most likely, you will receive a definite answer from your body, which will signal either weakness or strength or any other form of discomfort or comfort depending on the input. This book is about enhancing your intuitive and cognitive abilities rather than presenting mere book knowledge to satisfy intellectual needs. The secrets of health and rejuvenation constitute not a foreign body of knowledge we need to introduce from outside. You are the source of these secrets, and the timeless healing wisdom contained in this book is here to show you how to discover and apply them for your own benefit as well as that of mankind.